My name's Kenny with WeighMyRack Climbing. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the new concept shoe that we have for the show. It's called the Vision. Before we go too heavily into what makes the Vision such a unique shoe, we have to kind of do a little background on how we got there. When we first launched the brand back in 2002, we kind of made a splash by introducing molded parts to the climbing industry. So like molded heel cups, molded toe boxes, molded soles, that kind of stuff. So that's been kind of our MO and kind of our signature for the last like 17 years or so. So that's where we come to the Vision, basically. And we're calling it the Vision because like it's been our owner's dream to produce a shoe like this for forever, basically. It's been his vision for climbing shoes for the future. This is the first ever fully compression molded climbing shoe ever produced. The shoe is like completely all rubber, sticky rubber. So for our competitors, it's really a big benefit because they could use the shoe in every which direction. We can put the rubber where we need it. You need certain areas to be more durable. We can put more rubber there. If you need like more stretchy areas, it's really easy for us to, we built it into the mold. It's going to keep its shape because that's the shape it's in. Like all downturned shoes are going to resist and try to come back to its, they're all coming from sheets. So they're going to try to go back to that sheet form. But this is made in this form, so it's going to stay that way. So this is our patented concave shape for the toe box. It also has the negative texture. So, it's able to grab onto rock features or even holds that have positive texture. All these triangles, definitely you're taking material out. The more you take out, the more stretchy it is. We're gonna add more holes. This is, again, just another prototype. And then where you see more solid areas, like this is where it gives the shoe structure, give it some power. Typically, you'd see a toe rand rubber, you see a heel rand here, but you don't have that because it's a one-piece mold. But we're able to control the tension with how we make the mold. As you can see, there's no real seam. There's no gluing involved. It's all one piece. So no delamination issues. And also the other thing we wanted to introduce as a concept this year is like being able to change out the lining material for it to be modular. So you could have something that's like the hard midsole, or you could switch it out to something else that has a softer midsole in and out. And the reason why there's two different colors is that we wanted to introduce the concept that you could have a training model. So this is the same rubber as what we use in our rental shoes. So it's not as sticky, but it's much more durable. But yeah, the reason why it took so long, why it took 20 plus years to bring this to reality, was that the technology wasn't quite there. The issue was that the molding technology wasn't so precise. There wasn't enough of the sophisticated machines to make this happen. 3D printing was a big part of the process of making the prototypes and that kind of things. But now we've got the technology, it's precise enough where we can make a climbing shoe. Climbing shoe fits really tight. There's no margin there. Like if something is off by a little bit, you're gonna feel it because it's such a glove-like fit. So now we are working with a company that's able to do this for us. So we're really psyched on it. We're able to do like super intricate patterns. We're going to do positive texture, negative texture. I mean, we could do molded shapes like our concave sole that's patented. A lot of other benefits too as well, like you're closer to the rock. You have less material between you and the rock. Like traditionally made shoes, you have to have that rand rubber that wraps under and then the outsole. It's just one piece, 5 millimeters thick right at the tip, which also means that you have more rubber to use. So typically, traditionally made shoes is a 4 millimeter outsole. So you really only have 4 millimeters of like usable climbing rubber. With this, you have 5, but you still have less material between you and the rock, basically. The other aspects are like by doing a one-piece mold and like we're able to put almost the exact amount of rubber that we need to produce this shoe. So there's almost no waste. So with traditionally made shoes, like you have to cut it out of that sheet, and anything that you don't use, you typically have to throw away. So with this technology, you're able to produce a shoe and you're saving about, like we figured out like on an average size 9 shoe, you're saving about 25% of material from going to the waist, basically. So we definitely think this is the future of climbing shoes. Obviously our foot is a 3D shape. It's not flat sheets put together. It's a 3D shape in general. Yeah. So the advantage of this is like we could mold like certain aspects where we know where the bones are, where we know where the knuckles are, and we can also control the thickness everywhere. So if we know that there's going to be an area where it's going to be pressure and pain, like we can add more room or add a curve or add, you know, different things. That's the advantage of molding. With traditionally made shoes, you're using 2D, you know, sheets of material to try to bend around that shape or, you know, that kind of thing. And also the nice thing is the variable thickness. Like if you use one sheet of leather, that's the thickness you have to work with. You could add lining material on the inside or even on the outside to control the stretch or the thickness. But you're adding more glue, you're adding more stitches, you're adding more labor as well. So yeah, definitely there's no gluing going on. I think there's a lot of advantages there. There's no weak points, especially with downturned shoes or like shoes that are under a lot of tension. They always want to go back to its original shape. So our formula, our science fiction rubber formula, does have a little give into it. So that's how we create the tension. And also our RAN rubber has a lot of memory and a lot of stretch. So we're one of the few companies that have different formulas for different stretch properties. So our rubber isn't so like locked into that shape. It does have some mobility. What we're going to do is we're going to size it smaller than what we think the foot volume is, and then certain parts that are thinner, that have more holes than not, that will accommodate the foot, that'll stretch. We're not able to put a midsole in this shoe like in the mold. So what we have to do is we still have to control the stiffness because we don't want this to be just a one-dimensional shoe. We want it to perform a lot of tasks. And like I said, it's an outer mold that is very expensive. So we wanted it to be very versatile. So in order to get that versatility, you can add lining material that already has a midsole that's already on that sock liner. So once you put it into that shoe, this shoe will have different characteristics. And also the upper fabric material as well. That's how we control the fit. That's how we control performance. The outer mold will be the same, but you can control how you want the shoe to perform with these sock liners. So this is one of the parts that, like, obviously, like we're gonna figure out after the concept phase is over. We finalize the production, and if our athletes are really psyched on this modular system, we got to make this process a little bit easier. Right now, it's a little bit clunky and a little bit like it's not easy. I've had some practice, but still, it's not that easy. But basically, the buckle of the straps thread through one of the slits, opening on the shoes. But what we're planning on doing is like we're hoping to streamline this process, basically. Yeah, it's tough because what we've done with the sock liners that we've added rubber as well. So the rubber and the rubber stick together, so it'll kind of stay in place. And if you're downsizing it and if it's tensioned right, it really won't slide around on you. So. But that's also causing an issue with putting it on and off because it's trying to stick to the other material. So once you get it in, like you put your foot inside and everything will go to its right place, basically. So that's how that process is. Not very pretty right now. To take it out, it's much easier. So what you do is take it out of those slits, take it out of that buckle. Oh, push it through. And then you have the big loop, that's your pull tab, and it comes right out. So, and then you could potentially put a different one in there, different color, different stiffness, that kind of thing. Definitely a big benefit is like you're able to take this liner out and you can wash this while you use a different one. So definitely for the gyms, for the rental market, that's going to be something that we explore with a rental shoe like this. But even for like climbers in general, like you could change your liner to keep it fresh. You could change the color, you could change the pattern, whatever you like. So like we choose certain materials, for different properties, which means that we can offer these sock liners in those materials if you want that benefit. So That's also a nice part of it. It's like one shoe and you could have it all, basically. You know, the synthetic non-stretch material for when it's when you want that unforgiving performance. You could have like the nib material if you want like soft, you know, nice, comfortable feeling, breathability. Leather, predictable stretch, really comfortable once you break it in. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of options for the liners, just because like that's what we want people to be able to switch in and out of for this one shoe. Yeah. We've been working at this for a long time. It's not new for us. We've been trying to do this forever, basically. So we've been experimenting a lot with different shoe models, especially with rental shoes, because we don't need to use the ultra sticky climbing grade rubber. We could use a lesser grade rubber. It's a little bit more durable, but not as sticky. So when you're working with sticky rubber, it can get quite messy, as you can imagine. So like rental shoes, we first introduced this into the industry where it's a molded toe box. Obvious benefits like no delamination issues, they last longer, they don't mark the walls. And then we got you know, a little bit more confident and we started making bigger shapes and bigger molds and that kind of stuff. And that came out last year, the Haywire. So this one we did win an award, an innovation award for this shoe last year. So you can see how big that entire mold is. It's quite large. So this is when we first started to figure out how to do bigger molds. And with that, like, we learned enough from it, so that's where we come to the vision.